war. It's their war, and we're, enacting it for them. But I don't think American soldiers should go and die for Israel's war. I think send all of the IDF first, and then when they run out of those people, they should send their civilians, and then when they run out of their civilians, then the war is over.
Also, I fully support sending all the MAGA people proposing war as well.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the one thing about MAGA and the Conservative Party, and what I did like is the fact that we love our country. And in loving our country is a part of being willing to lay down your life for it. Like I said, I'm married to a veteran. I'm married to somebody who has served our country. But it needs to be an honorable cause, and it needs to be a cause for our country that benefits our country in some kind of way. And I don't see this being that. As far as Gen Z joining the draft, I feel like, as a society, we've harmed our own citizens, poisoned our own citizens, whether it's with the food and the water, or, ideology about gender. Like, are we mentally and physically fit to be drafting people right now? How many people are on SSRIs? How many people need mental health medication, in Gen Z? And I love Gen Z. I love them as a generation. I feel like as a whole, a lot of them are coming back to God, and they've been fed or handed a lot of things that aren't fair to them. And so to then also require that they go and fight a war that they largely don't agree with, I think it's a nonsense. And I've been seeing a lot of this talking points with Carolyn Levitt, who I used to really like too. I used to like her so bad. I thought she was like, oh, Legally Blonde, this girl's so cute, she's feisty. But it's like, to see the propaganda coming out of her mouth is actually quite scary. I know it's her job to be able to do it with a straight face, but to wrap it up as like, oh, Donald Trump is being wise, he's not ruling out the possibility of like boots on the ground, and framing it as a good thing is dangerous. There is no wisdom in that. We shouldn't be having boots on the ground anyways, because we ain't got no business being there.
Just yesterday, you have been showing
that's one. And to wrap up my thoughts, because I'm sure you want to move on to another subject, but I had made a video on TikTok about this earlier, where I feel like all of this is being done intentionally. It's like it's a runaway train, and unfortunately I don't see it stopping anytime soon, because like I personally feel like this is part of the Great Reset. They want to redo society, and we're taking too long to give up our cash. We're taking too long to, accept transgenderism or transhumanism. We're taking too long to go with the plans that they had for humanity. So they're just going to flatten everything and start over. And bring in the cashless society that they want, bring in the Messiah that they want. So not only is it holy and spiritual and demonic, it's all of those things. And this is going in accordance with their plans for the Great Reset. They want to have a one world order. They want to have a one world government, and they want to have a cashless society, and they're going to flatten everything and start over whether we want to or not. So that's where we are. And I don't think you should send your kids to die for that.
Mm-hmm. Ratchet, do you follow Professor Jiang, Predictive History?
I've seen stuff. I don't quite follow him, but I'm familiar with his stuff.
I highly recommend him. Really,
I don't like him. I've heard stuff about him I don't like.
Oh, you have to tell me later.
I'll tell you. I'll tell you later what I heard about him. Yeah, you could like him, but he got some things wrong. But y'all go check him out. Make your own opinions.
You're kind of freezing, Nora.
In this next clip, we're going to play this clip right here. This is about what happens if we send our troops into Iran.
Is planning to send ground forces into Iran, and I will explain why this might be a catastrophic mistake, because Iran is not like Iraq, it is built like a fortress. Let's start with the west and southwestern side. Iran's entire western edge is protected by the Zagros mountain range. This mountain range stretches along the border with Iraq and reaches toward Turkey. The terrain here is rocky, high and brutal. It is not just mountains, it is endless choke points, narrow passes and perfect ambush territory. We have already seen what happens here when in 1980, Iraq invaded Iran. Iraq had a clear plan. It wanted to capture the oil-rich province of Khuzestan and then push deeper to crush Iran's revolution. Iraq had tanks, manpower and support. But for years, the war got stuck. Iraqi forces reached the flatter areas near Khuzestan, but crossing the Zagros and moving toward Iran's core was a nightmare. And as a result, after 8 years, the war ended without a result. That is what the Zagros does. It slows down armies until they bleed. Now look to the north. Along the Caspian side sits the Alborz Mountains, another natural wall. These mountains make ground invasion from the northern side extremely difficult, so Iran is protected from two directions by mountain barriers. But even if a foreign army somehow crosses the coastline, fights through the mountains and enters Iran's interior, the geography becomes hostile again. Iran has massive desert regions, like the Lut Desert, which is known for extreme heat, as temperatures here can reach up to 70 degrees. This is not a terrain where large armies can move easily. It destroys vehicles, strains supply lines and exhausts troops. This is why Iran has historically been so hard to conquer. Iran is not one open plain. It is layers of natural defenses, mountains, deserts and long distances. So if America sends ground forces into Iran, it is not just choosing a war. It is choosing a war where geography itself fights back. And that is exactly how superpowers make catastrophic mistakes.
Okay, Gray. So as someone that actually served, Mia brought up some good points. Do you think that our boys will be able to truck up the mountains? Do you think that we will be sending them to slaughter when we drop them off in the middle of Tehran? It seems like only one way in, no ways out until we take control. What's your thoughts?
I'll say that we're probably going to see technological warfare. Somebody just put send robots in the comments. If you look at Ukraine versus Russia, where we see like these drones attacking each other, and they were already telling us when I was getting out of the military, they were like, oh, you need to go get a 4-year degree. So I feel like it's going to be work smarter, not harder. That's probably going to be the military plan. It's probably not going to be just meet it up. Because even when I was over there, it wasn't like we were like, okay, let's go meet up with these guys. Like it was, espionage. Like one of the persons I know that got deleted, it was a translator, and he deleted a girl too, which makes it even worse, and a guy. But he was a translator. They took his family, and then they told him, hey, go on the base, delete these people, or we gonna do something to your family. Then he came, and he ended up hitting the captain and the lieutenant. So it's gonna be like it's guerrilla warfare, it's espionage. These people use IED explosives. They do like sneaky tactics. So I think it's going to be a more technologically advanced, probably drones, probably stuff we don't even know about.
Yeah, that's a good point, Gray. But this is going to Ratchet's point. This is what Candace was saying, kind of along the lines of what Ratchet said.
Allow the Mark Levins, the Ben Shapiros to sign their offspring up instead. Allow the Christian Zionists, the ones who make videos,
send them
telling you how devilish it is if you don't support Israel. They believe this is messianic, that Bibi was sent to usher in Armageddon. That's going to bring Jesus back. I urge you, all of you Christian Zionists, sign up for the military today. Please, you guys, stop tweeting. Stop screaming about Tucker Carlson. You have something much more important to do. There's a messianic mission right now. Go to Iran. Go remove the thousands of dead, innocent Palestinian children from beneath the rubble in Gaza so that Trump can build his hotel. I want you guys to be the change that you wish to see in the world. You've got this.
Jesus.
Allow the goyim to stand down because you guys have the vision, you have the understanding. It's biblical.
So shameless plug, we actually do have a Zionist coming on Monday night show. Reverend Jordan Wells, good friend of the show. I love Reverend. He's my favorite Zionist out there. And so we're going to be asking Reverend some questions. Reverend, I want to know, will you be signing up for this war? What is the Greater Israel Project? Because I want to know answers to that. Why are Jewish people the chosen people? Because he's a Reverend. He's going to break it down. So if you want to come back and hear Reverend's answers, please come back Monday night. We will also be having a debate again Sunday night on why is anti-Semitism on the rise with Gen Z. Kimberly, I would say you're the youngest, but you're really not. We're all the same age, but you look super young. What is your thoughts on Candace's clip? As you know, I know you're a Christian. What do you think? Do you think they're going to sign up? What do you think is happening?
I get, she's being flippant, and I appreciate that, but I really would hate to send American troops. Unfortunately, that's what we're looking at. We're looking at ground troops. They're going to have to send boots on the ground eventually. We should send, but in order of importance, start with the rich elites, all of those people voting for war, send their kids first. Send Barron Trump. Send all the people that are for war. If they happen to be Zionist Christians who believe in forcing the end time, which is not true because, the prophecy of Israel was fulfilled when Jesus rose again. Amen. But yeah, send them all for sure. I'm with it. I mean, I say that in joke. I don't think we should be sending anybody, but unfortunately, it's going to be at the expense of the lower and middle class yet again, like we saw with Vietnam.
Can I say something
Go
to
ahead.
the comment?
Yeah.
All right. So this Donald guy says, I can't believe we still Saddam. We don't know why that Israel is God's chosen people. If Israel is God's chosen people, they can meet him first. They can be first in line, baby. If they are God's chosen people, maybe they can be first in line to meet him. It's okay. I'll let them go first.
A very good doctrine, the Holy Bible, that shows differing to that. I will be playing the clips. We will be going by scripture come on Monday night, and the Reverend can counter what the scripture says because the New Testament is very clear. But I ain't gonna say it. I'm gonna allow a Reverend. We're gonna have two Reverends, one in real life, one from the clips, explain both. So come back, Donald. You might learn something. Sorry, keep going, Mia.
But like I said, if they're God's chosen people, and if he led them, he said God led Israel into wars and conquered those who stood in his way. Good, baby. Get to the front of the line. Boots right on the ground. Get to the front of the line, baby. You go. He loves you. I think you should go first. You said he leads, motherfuckers. Go let him lead you right over there. The rest of us can stay here.
Honestly, the idea of an earth without like people who think a certain way sounds nice. Is that mean? But I mean, it seems nice.
Yeah, I mean, we're living in pretty wild times, really wild times.
It's just crazy to me. I will say, Nora, you and I have talked about this a few times. It is always the people that want war are always the ones that never sign up. A lot of the veterans I know, obviously they understand that Iran is an issue, and it has been an issue for a long time, and obviously potentially could be an issue in the future. But I have not seen a lot of veterans that are like, yeah, let's go. Let's go drop some bombs. Let's go waste some money. I know I have not met any in real life that I know personally, like I can validate their service, that think this is a great idea. And there is a reason that every president and since 1995 has not done it, because they all have some sense.
Donald said
a good idea.
He supports this, and he went during the first Iraq War. So Donald said he raises you one because he's.
Is that Desert Storm though? Because that only lasted like less than a month.
Yeah, you're right. So Donald, this ain't the same, boo. This ain't like before. Now we gonna be throwing them into the wolves in the mountains. But I have one more clip on this topic. This is our favorite Lindsey Graham.
We're going to win.
My favorite
in the United States. You just wait to see what comes in the next 2 weeks.
The next 2 weeks, meaning what?
We're going to blow the hell out of these people. This regime is in a death row now. It is going to be on its knees. It's going to fall. And when it falls, we're going to have peace like no other time. We're going to have prosperity unlike anyone could ever imagine. Peace brings prosperity. You can't do it by talking. The Democrats criticize this operation. They didn't do a damn thing. These men and women in the military should make us all proud.
So Ratchet, it's easier said than done. He has no children.
I'm so glad, right? Because what I think about when I see people like Lindsey Graham, and then I see, our president and the decisions that they're making within the next 10 to 15 years, they're not going to have to live in the world that they're building. They won't be here. They won't be here to see through the actions. The consequences of the decisions that they're making right now. These are older men who have lived the fullness of their days. They're on their way out. They're on their way to stand before God, and he's going to pass down their sentences. And to me, it's layered in that it's sad and that they and that they're closer to the end of their lives than most of us are, and they're not worried about having to stand in front of God and answering for the decisions that they're making right now. But also, these men are making decisions and building a world that they're not going to really live to see. We're gonna, by God's grace, live to see that. Our children are gonna live to see that, but they're on their way out. So to me, it just kind of seems like they're trashing the place before they go. If you got to move out of an apartment and you leaving, instead of leaving nicely, they're just dumping the whole place. They've gotten to enjoy the spoils of war. War used to make sense for their generation because we would go destroy other nations and enrich ourselves. We've done that all over the world. That now there is no enrichment. We've ravaged so many other countries that it's like we don't really gain that much from war. So when he's talking about peace comes first and then prosperity, for what? We could prosper if we keep our billions of dollars here and focus on what it is that we have going on. There have been talks about invading Iran for the past 30 years, and for 30 years, they have not done anything to our nation. And so the fact that, it has to be done now, I feel like it's because these men know that they're leaving this earth. They're on the way out, and this generation that's coming up behind them, we don't want war. We don't need to meddle in the affairs of the Middle East. We don't need to destabilize the world and be the world bullies. We don't need to do regime change. We don't have to destabilize other countries to remain number one. And not only that, too, we're trying to destabilize the Persian Empire, mind you. Okay? That was here before the United States, and I'm sure will still be there after the United States. We're going on.
Mia has this gripe with she said it's always the boomers that's doing this shit.
The boomers. It is always the boomers. It's always them.
They are the populists. Y'all are about to go stand in front of God. The time is winding down on you. Okay, you need to make better choices. But I also, to even tie in Charlie Kirk, this whole generation, our sentiments have been changing. And I feel like the urgency in what they're doing right now and wanting to finish this greater Israel project that they've started 30 years ago is because they know that everybody who started it is dying. The younger generation has no interest in continuing this nonsense because it hasn't proven to be beneficial to our country. They're not selling it to us well. They're trying to convince us that we should go and die for their war one last time before they die. It's not working. So
I would like to add, though, that this fight with Israel and Iran and Persia, Iran, aka in the Bible, if you read your Bible, it says Persia, has been going on for generations, centuries. And to her point, Iran has always come on top, y'all. Y'all need to go do y'all research, y'all history. There's a reason why they are one of the oldest civilizations. I don't know who's in Trump's ear. I really don't. I'm going to play this last clip. This is Kimberly's favorite person. Whole favorite person,
Nick Fuentes,
in the whole world.
I kind of like him.
He's starting to grow on me. He said he wants unity, so I'm good with that. Here we go.
If a single person is killed in a terrorist attack, that is the fault of Donald Trump in Israel. Period.
Sorry.
If a single person is killed in a terrorist attack, that is the fault of Donald Trump in Israel. Period. Full stop. I don't even blame the terrorist as much. You know who's responsible for blood being shed if there's terrorism? Number one, Donald Trump. Number two, Israel. Number three, the terrorist. And you want to know why? It's Donald Trump's job to put America first. And he knew bringing us to war would mean this. He knew that. And he keeps telling us. He says, it's a war. People die in a war. It's going to happen. So he signed those people's death warrants. The second that we started dropping bombs, he sealed the fate of Americans that will die in terror attacks, and he was okay with that. Never forget that. You're talking about Muslim migrants. Okay, they're fucking towelheads. What is the American president's obligation to his own people? The American president who ran on America first, Americans first, signed the death warrant of every person who is or will be killed overseas or in a terrorist attack because he knew this was inevitable. He knew there'd be collateral damage. He knew there'd be civilian casualties, and he did it anyway for Israel. And Israel knew it too, and they dragged us into the conflict. For them, it's an acceptable sacrifice. They're probably happy about it. And then you get the Muslims that are just unwitting pawns. They are just the instrument, as always. As always, the blacks, Muslims, the Indians, they're the instrument. in this equation. They probably have the least agency out of all of them. So no, focus up. You talk about immigration doesn't work in an international conflict. Hey, who created the international conflict? Which country? Whose money? Which billionaires?
I gotta say this though. I remember, Gray, when we started doing the show, we talked about Nick, and me and D White, who started the show with us, we were making fun of him. We're like, what a clown, what a crybaby. And I gotta say something. That little shithead got everything right. He said, do not vote for Trump. He said, because Trump is going to take you to war and have us leading the charge to Iran. And everything he said has been right. Gray, what do you think? I know you secretly like him.
Well, to respond to D White said he was willing to give up his trucking business for Trump. So some of the stuff that the Trump supporters said that they were willing to give up for Trump was outrageous. As far as Nick Fuentes' career, it seemed like he started out. I remember first seeing him, I don't know, when they did the little thing in Charlottesville when they was carrying the torches. So he has transitioned, and I have listened to him, and he does say a lot of stuff that is intelligent, especially about foreign policy. As far as him having a career in politics or even just commentating, he said so many racist things. I think that's just killed his whole image. But hey, whatever, if y'all like it, we love it. Mia's the one that said, oh, well, we'll give up Charlie Kirk for Nick Fuentes, but seemed like Nick Fuentes became a Democrat now.
Well, I told
also,
you.
Nick Fuentes is not Mexican. He is disowned. Nick Fuentes is not Mexican. He can drop his last name.
Well, I told you, Nick, I called it after they killed Charlie. I said Nick Fuentes is going to rise up in the power vacuum and be the new voice. And he, outside of everybody I've seen, I would say he is the new voice, whether we like it or disagree. But if you look at the amount of people watching his streams and all of that stuff, and the just the sheer amount, I would say he won the power vacuum.
Also, I might add, for no reason at all,
the Groypers are coming for us. The Groypers said we have fan mail coming. Please send it to Gray's house. He loves to brag that he's the founder.
Remember that I said that I like her.
Please.
I just want to add, for no reason at all, this is not meant to anybody specifically, but it's okay to be gay. There's nothing wrong with being gay. We can biblically affirm our LGBTQ, Lindsey Graham, Nick Fuentes, whoever, please. We love you. Please come out.
Hilarious. I think
keep going.
I'm sorry to cut you off, but I'm like, whether like you agree with his political views, one, I always respect people who are willing to speak their mind and speak it to the fullest, even if I don't agree. And then on top of that too, like the man's funny. He's funny. And whoever touched on there being a vacuum of leadership when they assassinated Charlie Kirk, it's absolutely that. America is looking for leadership, especially the younger generations. They're looking for somebody that they can follow and believe in. And in Charlie, they at least had somebody that they could control. And they didn't think beyond that, just like I feel like they're not thinking beyond Iran. Okay, we remove their leadership. Now what? Then what? And it's like no one really has an answer for then what, So as far as Nick Fuentes goes, he's Nick Fuentes, But let him be. Let him talk what he talks, and sometimes it'd be funny. I'm not even gonna lie. Yes, he's racist, but what's not hilarious about a Mexican white supremacist racist? It's like, come on now, the joke's right.
Who's celibate for some reason or abstinent,
and I love
he's
that.
He's a good Catholic. Leave him alone on that.
Okay.
Listen, honey.
The Catholics. There's no such thing as a good Catholic.
I like
they all sin and just do confessional and Hail Marys or whatever the Catholics do. They all sin. They just confess it to the Padre and get forgiven. Come on.
He is America first, which